Amelia Oakley nearly dropped her lesson plans when the classroom door burst open, revealing a glowering man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world. His tailored suit screamed money, but his expression screamed mutiny as he reluctantly stepped into her evening art class. "I'm looking for Amelia Oakley," he said, his deep voice cutting through the pre-class chatter of her students. Amelia straightened her paint-splattered smock and raised her hand. "That's me, and you must be the last-minute enrollment my administrator mentioned." She extended her hand. "Welcome to discovering your inner artist." The man didn't take her hand. "Ryan Taylor. My sister apparently thought this would be therapeutic." He practically spat the word. "Let's be clear, I'm only here because Deanne is relentless when she wants something." Amelia lowered her hand, her professional smile never faltering despite the sting of his rudeness. "Well, Mr. Taylor, therapeutic or not, you're here now. Class starts in 5 minutes. Supplies are at the back table." As Ryan stalked to the supply area, Amelia watched him from the corner of her eye. Despite his hostile demeanor, there was something compelling about him: the confident way he moved, the intelligence in his dark eyes, the tension in his broad shoulders. Teaching art at the community center was her passion, but difficult students came with the territory. This one just happened to be wrapped in an expensive suit with a chip on his shoulder the size of Manhattan. What Amelia didn't know was that Ryan Taylor wasn't just any reluctant student. He was the CEO of Taylor Maritime Holdings, one of the largest shipping companies on the East Coast. And his sister's insistence that he find balance in his life was about to change both their worlds in ways neither could imagine. "Everyone, please take your seats," Amelia called, clapping her hands. "Tonight, we're starting with basic shape recognition, the foundation of all art." Ryan settled at the back table, arms crossed, looking like a man awaiting execution rather than a painting lesson. Amelia had seen his type before: usually corporate executives forced into team-building workshops by well-meaning HR departments. But this man seemed different, more intense, more lost somehow despite his obvious wealth and confidence. As she demonstrated how to hold a paintbrush properly, she caught him staring at her hands with unexpected focus. When their eyes met, he quickly looked away, jaw tight. "Art isn't about perfection," Amelia announced to the class, moving between easels. "It's about expression. About finding your voice without words." She paused behind Ryan, noting how he gripped the brush like it might escape. "Loosen your hold," she said quietly, just for him. "Art requires control, yes, but also freedom." Ryan's shoulders stiffened at her proximity. "I don't do freedom well." "I never would have guessed," Amelia replied with a small smile. For a fraction of a second, his stern expression cracked, and Amelia glimpsed something else: humor, perhaps. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. By the end of class, everyone had produced a simple still life of the fruit arrangement on the center table. Everyone except Ryan, whose canvas showed only harsh, angry lines that resembled nothing organic. As the other students packed up, chatting amiably, Ryan stared at his canvas with undisguised contempt. "Rome wasn't built in a day," Amelia said, approaching his station. "And Picasso didn't master Cubism in his first class." "I'm not aiming for mastery," Ryan replied. "I'm fulfilling an obligation to my sister who thinks I work too much." Amelia tilted her head. "Do you? That's irrelevant. My work requires my full attention." "What is it you do, Mr. Taylor?" He hesitated. "I manage a company." "Ah," Amelia nodded, choosing not to press. Many of her students enjoyed the anonymity of her classes. "Well, whatever you manage, I hope you'll return next week. First lessons are always the hardest." Ryan slipped his jacket back on, transforming instantly from awkward student to commanding executive. "I signed up for the full 6 weeks." "I'll be here." The words sounded like a threat rather than a promise. As Amelia cleaned up after class, she couldn't shake thoughts of her mysterious new student. Something about Ryan Taylor intrigued her, perhaps the contradiction between his obvious discomfort with art and the subtle grace with which he moved. Or maybe it was the flash of vulnerability she'd glimpsed when he looked at his failed painting. What she didn't realize was that Ryan was equally preoccupied, sitting in his chauffeur-driven car outside the community center, staring at his phone without seeing it, his mind replaying the way Amelia's auburn hair caught the light when she bent over a student's work. "Everything all right, sir?" His driver asked. Ryan shook himself from his reverie. "Fine, James, back to the office. At this hour, sir, it's almost 9. Ryan checked his watch with surprise. "You're right, home then." As the car pulled away, Ryan's phone buzzed with a text from his sister. "How was art class?" "Therapeutic." His thumbs hovered over the keyboard before he replied. "The instructor seems competent." He paused, then added, "I'll give it the full 6 weeks." What he didn't text was that the instructor was also beautiful, passionate, and had hands that created magic on canvas hands he couldn't stop thinking about. Diane's response came immediately. "Wow, high praise from you. Can't wait to hear more at brunch Sunday." Ryan put his phone away, watching the city lights blur past his window. 6 weeks of art classes. 6 weeks of looking like a fool with a paintbrush. 6 weeks of Amelia Oakley correcting his technique with those gentle hands. He was in trouble and he knew it. The following Tuesday, Amelia arrived early to set up for class, surprised to find Ryan already waiting outside the door, a sleek leather portfolio under his arm. "Mr. Taylor," she said, unlocking the classroom. "You're early, Ryan," he corrected, following her inside. "And I'm always early. Time management is essential in my position." "Which is?" Amelia tried again, arranging fresh flowers for tonight's still life. Ryan set down his portfolio. "I'd rather not discuss work here. This is supposed to be my escape from it, according to my sister." Amelia smiled. "Fair enough." "What's in the portfolio?" "I thought I should practice." He opened it, revealing several attempts at still life drawings, all technically precise but utterly soulless. "I don't like being incompetent at things." Amelia studied the drawings. "These show good technical observation." "But art isn't just about reproducing what you see." "Then what is it about?" The genuine curiosity in his question surprised her. "It's about seeing beyond the surface, expressing something true." She looked up at him. "What were you feeling when you drew these?" Ryan looked uncomfortable. "Feeling? I was concentrating on getting the proportions right." "That explains it then." Amelia handed back the portfolio. "Tonight, try feeling something while you work. Anything, frustration, joy, even boredom, just let it flow into your brush." Ryan's expression suggested she'd asked him to perform neurosurgery with a spoon. "I don't just try," she said gently. "The worst that can happen is another bad painting, and those can be painted over." When the other students arrived, Amelia noticed Ryan had moved his easel from the back to the middle of the room. Progress, she thought. As she circulated during class, she noticed Ryan's intense concentration, the way he occasionally closed his eyes before making a brushstroke, as if visualizing something first. His canvas began showing actual shapes that resembled the flower arrangement, though his technique remained rigid. Near the end of class, Amelia paused beside him. "May I?" she asked, gesturing to his brush. After a moment's hesitation, he handed it over. Standing beside him, she added several loose, flowing strokes to his painting, softening the rigid lines, adding movement to the flowers. "See. Sometimes you need to let go of precision to find truth." When she looked up, Ryan was watching her face, not the canvas, with an intensity that made her breath catch. They were standing close, too close for teacher and student, close enough that she could smell his expensive cologne and see a tiny scar above his right eyebrow. "Truth," he repeated, taking the brush back, his fingers brushing hers. "An elusive concept in my experience." Before Amelia could respond, another student called for her attention, breaking the moment. When she looked back, Ryan had returned to his painting, but something had changed in his posture, less rigid, more contemplative. After class, as she was packing up her supplies, Ryan approached her desk. "I have a proposition," he said. Amelia raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." "I need more help than a weekly class provides. Would you consider private lessons?" The request caught her off guard. I don't typically offer private instruction. I understand your time is valuable. I'm prepared to compensate you accordingly. He named a figure that made Amelia blink. That's very generous, but too low. He named a higher amount. Amelia laughed. No, that's not the issue. I'm just wondering why someone who clearly disliked art last week is suddenly so committed. Ryan's expression grew serious. I don't like being bad at things, and my sister was right about one thing I need: balance. The words seemed difficult for him to say. Your approach to art is different than I expected, more challenging. Amelia considered him. The extra income would certainly help with her studio rent, and something about teaching this particular man intrigued her. Saturdays, she said finally. I could do Saturday mornings at my private studio, 2 hours. Relief flashed across Ryan's face. Perfect. I'll have my assistant send a contract. A handshake will do, Amelia said. Ryan extended his hand, and this time when she took it, his grip was warm and firm. The contact lingered a moment longer than necessary. Saturday at 10, she said, writing her studio address on a card. And Ryan. Bring comfortable clothes. We'll be getting messy. The faint look of alarm on his face as he accepted the card made Amelia smile all the way home. What Amelia didn't realize was that, after leaving the community center, Ryan had his driver take him past her studio address not to check it out, he told himself, but to assess the neighborhood for safety. When he saw the converted warehouse in a gentrifying artist district, something like anticipation stirred in his chest, a feeling so unfamiliar he almost didn't recognize it. Saturday arrived with unexpectedly beautiful weather. Amelia opened the tall windows of her studio, letting spring air circulate among her canvases and supplies. She'd spent more time than she cared to admit preparing for this private lesson, selecting materials that might appeal to Ryan's precise nature while challenging him to loosen up. When a knock came precisely at 10, Amelia wasn't surprised at Ryan's punctuality. What did surprise her was his appearance. Gone was the impeccable suit, replaced by dark jeans and a simple gray Henley that revealed forearms corded with subtle muscle. He looked younger, less formidable, though no less handsome. You followed the dress code, she said, waving him in. Ryan glanced down at himself, almost self-conscious. My casual wardrobe is limited. You look fine. More than fine, actually, but Amelia kept that observation to herself. Welcome to my sanctuary. Ryan surveyed the large, light-filled space with apparent appreciation. One wall displayed Amelia's finished works, vibrant landscapes, and abstract compositions. Another held shelves of supplies. In the center, she'd arranged 2 easels facing a table with various objects: a copper teapot, a vintage camera, a polished stone. It's not what I expected, Ryan admitted, drawn to her paintings. What did you expect? More chaos, I suppose. Amelia smiled. Creative minds need organization too, we just organize differently. She handed him a smock. Today, we're focusing on light and shadow, but first I want you to tell me why you really wanted private lessons. Ryan accepted the smock but didn't put it on. I told you, you told me what you thought I wanted to hear, Amelia interrupted. I'm guessing your sister's therapy idea wasn't the whole story. A flicker of respect crossed Ryan's face. Perceptive. It's an occupational hazard. Artists need to see what others miss. Ryan walked to the window, looking out at the city. My company is acquiring a major art collection as part of a corporate merger. I need to understand enough about art to not embarrass myself when dealing with the gallery directors and curators. Amelia leaned against her work table. You could have hired an art consultant for that. I did. But she speaks a language I don't understand. I need the fundamentals. So this is business for you. Ryan turned from the window. Isn't teaching business for you? Taché. Amelia gestured to the easel. Put on your smock, Mr. CEO. Your art education begins now. Ryan froze. How did you? I Googled you after our first class, Amelia admitted. Taylor Maritime Holdings, very impressive. You didn't say anything? You clearly wanted anonymity. I respected that. Ryan studied her with newfound interest. Most people can't wait to tell me what they know about my company or ask for investment advice. Amelia shrugged. I'm not most people, and in this studio you're not a CEO, you're just another student who can't paint. Yet. For the first time since she'd met him, Ryan smiled a genuine smile that transformed his serious face. Fair enough. That smile did something dangerous to Amelia's heart rate, but she maintained her professional demeanor. Now, about those light and shadows. The 2 hours passed with surprising speed. Ryan proved to be an attentive student, asking thoughtful questions and focusing intensely on each technique she demonstrated. His natural precision served him well with technical aspects, though he still struggled with the more intuitive elements. As Amelia guided his hand to show a brushstroke technique, she became acutely aware of their physical proximity, the warmth of his shoulder against hers, the clean scent of his aftershave, the slight roughness of his fingers against hers. Teaching had never felt so distracting. When she stepped back to assess his progress, she noticed a small smudge of paint on his cheek. Without thinking, she reached up to wipe it away. Ryan went utterly still at her touch, his eyes darkening. Paint, she explained, showing him the blue smear on her thumb. Thank you, he said, his voice lower than before. An awkward silence fell between them, heavy with unspoken awareness. Amelia cleared her throat. You've made remarkable progress today. Ryan glanced at his painting, a study of the copper teapot that actually captured some of its warm glow. It's still terrible. It's a start, she corrected. Rome wasn't built in a day, he finished with her. That unexpected smile appeared again. So you've mentioned. As they cleaned up, Ryan moved with surprising efficiency, washing brushes with the same care he probably gave to million-dollar contracts. Same time next Saturday? He asked as he prepared to leave. I'll be here, Amelia confirmed. And for Tuesday's class, try to think about what we discussed: emotional content over technical precision. Ryan nodded, looking serious again. At the door, he paused. This was helpful, thank you. After he left, Amelia sat at her work table, absently twirling a paintbrush between her fingers. Teaching Ryan Taylor was proving more complicated than expected. Not because he was difficult, though he certainly could be, but because of the unwelcome attraction she felt growing with each interaction. Dating students was against her personal code. Dating wealthy executives who lived in different worlds from hers was simply impractical. And yet, the image of Ryan's smile stayed with her long after he'd gone. On Tuesday evening, Amelia entered the community center classroom to find a small box on her desk with her name on it. Inside was a set of professional-grade paintbrushes, the expensive kind she admired in art supply catalogs, but could never justify purchasing on her teacher's budget. No card, but she didn't need one. When Ryan arrived, looking less out of place in dark trousers and a button-down shirt with rolled sleeves, she caught his eye. Thank you, she said quietly. They're beautiful but unnecessary. You mentioned your favorite brush was wearing out, he replied. Consider it appreciation for Saturday. Before she could respond, other students began arriving, and Amelia had to focus on setting up for class. But throughout the evening, she was hyper-aware of Ryan's presence. The way his eyes followed her as she moved around the room, the subtle changes in his posture when she approached his easel. His painting that night showed noticeable improvement, not technically, but expressively. When she commented on this, he simply said, I took your advice, I painted what I felt. And what was that? His eyes met hers. Anticipation. The word hung between them, laden with possibility. By the third private lesson, something had shifted between them. Their conversations extended beyond art techniques to personal histories, Amelia's childhood moving between her father's military postings, her art scholarship to college, her struggle to balance teaching and creating. Ryan shared less, but enough for her to understand his drive, taking over the family business at 28 when his father died unexpectedly, rebuilding it from near bankruptcy, the pressure of thousands of employees depending on his decisions. You never wanted anything else. Amelia asked as they shared coffee after a particularly successful session where Ryan had finally created something with genuine emotional resonance. Ryan considered the question. I never thought about wanting something else. The company was always my future. That sounds like duty, not passion. They can be the same thing. But are they? For you? Amelia challenged. Ryan's silence was answer enough. By their fifth session, the pretense that these meetings were strictly about art instruction had begun to wear thin. Their conversations wandered into personal territory. Their hands found reasons to touch, adjusting a brush, reaching for the same palette, passing coffee cups. Why aren't you showing in galleries? Ryan asked, studying one of her larger canvases. This work deserves to be seen. Amelia shrugged. Gallery representation is difficult to secure. I've had a few small shows, but nothing major. Have you approached Westfield Gallery? They specialize in emerging artists. They're quite selective. I know the owner, Ryan said casually. I could arrange an introduction. Amelia stiffened. I don't need your connections, Ryan. I didn't mean. I've worked for everything I've achieved, small as it might seem to someone like you. Ryan looked genuinely perplexed. I wasn't suggesting charity. Your work stands on its own merit. The introduction would just open a door you deserve to walk through. Amelia set down her paintbrush. I apologize for overreacting. It's just, I've dated men before who thought they needed to fix my career or my life, as if my choices weren't valid because they didn't lead to wealth or conventional success. Is that what you think I'm doing, trying to fix you? Aren't you? Ryan stepped closer. No, I'm trying to understand you. There's a difference. The intensity in his eyes made Amelia's heart race. They were standing close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. For a wild moment, she thought he might kiss her, wanted him to kiss her, professional boundaries be damned. Instead, Ryan stepped back. I should go. I have a conference call at noon. The moment shattered, leaving Amelia with a mixture of relief and disappointment. She watched him gather his things, his CEO persona settling back over him like armor. At the door, he turned. For what it's worth, Amelia, I think you're extraordinary exactly as you are, no fixing required. Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving her surrounded by paintings that suddenly seemed to vibrate with unspoken emotions. The following Tuesday's class was the final session of the 6-week course. Amelia arrived to find the classroom already set up, easels arranged, supplies distributed, flowers placed in the center. Ryan stood by the window, looking uncharacteristically nervous. You did all this? Amelia asked, setting down her bag. I came early, thought you might appreciate the help. Thank you, she surveyed the room. It's perfect. As other students filed in, Amelia felt a strange melancholy. After tonight, her obligation to teach Ryan would be fulfilled. Their Saturday sessions had no defined end point, but would he continue once the class ended? Or had he learned enough about art for his business purposes? During class, Ryan created his best work, yet a landscape inspired by a photograph Amelia had provided, with colors and emotions that showed genuine artistic growth. When she complimented him, his expression was unreadable. After the other students left, exchanging contact information and promises to stay in touch, Ryan lingered, helping Amelia clean up. Your sister's therapy idea seems to have worked, Amelia said lightly. You've made remarkable progress, in more ways than she intended, perhaps. Ryan set down the brushes he'd been collecting. Amelia, there's something I need to tell you. Her heart skipped. Yes. I haven't been entirely forthcoming about why I continued these lessons. The art collection for your merger, I remember. That was true initially. But the merger was completed 3 weeks ago. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, a rare gesture of uncertainty. I kept coming because of you, Amelia stilled. Ryan, please let me finish. I haven't felt this way in, possibly ever. My life has been about obligation and achievement. Never about connection. He stepped closer. Until you showed me how to see differently, not just art, but everything. Amelia struggled to maintain her professional composure. I'm your teacher. For exactly, Ryan checked his watch with deliberate precision, 4 more minutes. After which the course will be officially completed. Despite everything, Amelia laughed. You really are methodical about everything, aren't you? Not everything, Ryan said, his voice softening. What I feel for you is anything but methodical. It's terrifying, actually. Terrifying. I can't control it, can't quantify it, can't put it in a spreadsheet or delegate it to someone else. He took her hand. For a man who's built his life on control, that's terrifying. Amelia looked at their joined hands. And what exactly is it, this unquantifiable thing? Ryan's thumb traced circles on her palm. I think it might be love, or the beginning of it. The word hung in the air between them, honest and vulnerable. Amelia's heart thundered in her chest. Ryan, our worlds are completely different, are they? We both create. I build shipping routes and corporate structures. You build worlds with paint. We both work obsessively at what we care about. We both value precision and passion. His fingers tightened around hers. The differences are superficial. What matters is deeper. Amelia wanted to argue to protect herself from hoping for something that seemed impossible. But the earnestness in Ryan's eyes undid her caution. What are you proposing exactly? She asked. Ryan smiled. Dinner tomorrow night, not as teacher and student, just as Amelia and Ryan. Such a simple request, yet it represented a significant boundary crossing. Amelia hesitated, weighing professional ethics against the undeniable connection they'd formed. My class is officially over, Ryan reminded her, glancing at his watch again. As of 30 seconds ago. Amelia made her decision. Dinner, but somewhere normal, not some exclusive place where the chef prepares things not even on the menu. Ryan laughed, a free, unguarded sound that transformed his face. Noted, I know a fantastic Italian place in the village, family-owned, red checkered tablecloths. Perfect, Amelia smiled, feeling both terrified and exhilarated. Ryan lifted her hand and pressed his lips to her knuckles, an old-fashioned gesture that somehow suited him. Until tomorrow, then. After he left, Amelia sat alone in the classroom, surrounded by the evidence of 6 weeks' worth of artistic journeys, not just Ryan's, but all her students. Transitions, transformations, small revelations captured in paint and charcoal. Her phone buzzed with a text from a number she didn't recognize. In case you want to cancel, or confirm, or just talk. Amelia saved the number with a smile. Something was beginning, something colorful and unpredictable and potentially beautiful. Like art itself, dinner led to more dinners. Gallery visits, long walks through the city. Ryan introducing Amelia to his sister Deanne, who hugged her and whispered, I've never seen him like this, thank you. Amelia introducing Ryan to her artist friends, watching with pride as he held his own in discussions of technique and meaning, no longer the reluctant student but an engaged participant. Their relationship deepened through the summer and into fall. Ryan continued his Saturday lessons, though they increasingly involved as much conversation as instruction. He set up a small studio in a corner of his penthouse apartment, where he painted late into the night when work stress became overwhelming. Amelia had her meeting with Westfield Gallery arranged not by Ryan's intervention, but by a former student who worked there and had seen her paintings. When they offered her a show, Ryan celebrated by filling her studio with her favorite flowers. On a crisp October evening, 1 year after that first contentious class, Ryan took Amelia to the community center where they'd met. The classroom was transformed, candles, flowers, her paintings displayed on every wall. In the center, on an easel, sat a canvas covered with a cloth. What is this? Amelia asked, wonderstruck. My final exam, Ryan said, removing the cloth to reveal a painting, his best work yet, a portrait of Amelia in her studio, surrounded by light, her face captured with love and surprising skill. At the bottom of the canvas, painted in tiny letters, Will you marry me? When Amelia looked back at Ryan, he was kneeling, holding a ring. My reluctant artist, she whispered, tears blurring her vision. My extraordinary teacher, he replied. Is that a yes? Amelia pulled him to his feet. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As they sealed their promise with a kiss, surrounded by art and memory in the place where their story began, Amelia thought about how life created its own masterpieces unexpected, imperfect, beautiful beyond imagining. Ryan thought about balance, about finding the missing piece he hadn't known he needed, about how his sister's forced therapy had led him to the greatest gift of his life. And they both silently thanked whatever cosmic artist had painted them into each other's lives, the CEO and the art teacher, creating a masterpiece all their own.